Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we are continuing in our series on the key areas that you have to focus on in order to pass the examination in the respective subjects. So far, we have covered public sector accounting and finance, financial reporting, and then corporate reporting. Now, in case you missed those videos, you can check the description of this video and you can watch those videos to learn the key areas you have to focus on and how you can pass the public sector accounting and finance examination, the financial reporting examination, and also the corporate reporting exams. Remember also that there are time stamps on this video. You can check the description so that you can skip the video to the specific parts that you are interested in or that you may be interested in. But I will entreat you to watch the entire video, as each part of this discussion is going to be critical for you to pass the examination. Are you ready? Let's get excited about it. Now, management accounting is one of the interesting subjects in the ICAG syllabus. But one thing you need to understand, that the pass rate of this paper is really low. In other words, on the average, when you put 10 people in a room, only 3 out of 7 will pass the exams. This is the data available. This is the statistics available as per the Chief Examiner's report over the few years and even from the November 2021 examination. I am not saying this to put fear in you, but I'm saying this to let you know that if you are not careful about management accounting, you will fail the exams. So it is a subject that is really delicate. It's a subject that must be taken carefully and a subject that must be learned in a certain way in order for you to pass the examination. And that is exactly what I want to do in this video and share with you the things that you have to do, the factors that you have to take into consideration, the key areas that you have to focus on in order for you to pass the examination. Now, before I go into the key issues that you have to focus on and how you are supposed to answer the questions, let me share with you some of the concerns that the Chief Examiner has raised, for management accounting examination. Let's look at some of the concerns that the Chief Examiner has raised. Number one, the Chief Examiner has raised concern about English language. Now, per the Chief Examiner's statement or words, he said that some people write as though they haven't had any tertiary education. It's really mind busting because on the average, the people who are coming to do the ICA are people coming with first degrees, because most people have done their first degrees and so they are coming to continue in the ICA. And the examiner said English language is one of the critical issues. It's one of the critical issues. Why is this important? Because you see, your exams is going to be partly written or comment as well as calculation aspect in that regard. So English language is very, very important. So you have to be mindful of this. If your English is not good, it will be one of the key factors or key reasons why you will go and fail the exams. So English language. I don't know how you're going to work on that. I'm not saying go start reading storybooks or that, but you need to have some logical understanding and logical way of presenting your answers in the exam hall. If you are not able to present your answers logically in the manner that you're expected to present your answers, then you are going to fail the exams. That is one of the first concerns that the Chief Examiner has raised. The second thing is lack of application of basic principles. Note that as you are going into the management accounting examination, there are certain basic principles that you must know about. Number one is the marginal costing principle. If you're a good student in management accounting, the marginal costing principle is going to be critical because that is the principle you're going to be applying when you're dealing with short-term decisions like make or buy decisions, break-even analysis, shutdown decisions, relevant costing analysis. These are principles that you must understand. So the first thing, the marginal costing principle. The second thing, the relevant costing analysis principle or relevant costing principle. Now, remember that this principle is relevant also in short-term decisions and also applicable in investment appraisal techniques. So it's a basic principle in management accounting. You must understand it. The Chief Examiner said students lack the ability to apply these basic principles. And then the third one is going to be the absorption costing principle, the famous one, the absorption costing principle. You are going to be applying that principle in dealing with variance analysis as well as budgeting and what? Budgetary control. Even the marginal costing principle, it's applicable in variance analysis. It is applicable in variance analysis and also applicable in budgeting and budgetary control. So what are we saying? We are saying that the chief examiner said students lack the ability to what? Apply these basic principles. What you have to do is, before you go to the exam hall, make sure you are solid, you understand well the marginal costing principle, the absorption costing principle, and most importantly, the relevant costing principle. Because in various questions, these principles, one way or the other, will be applied. Does that make sense? Number 3 is non-interpretation of computations. That is the third challenge or concern that the chief examiner raised. Non-interpretation of computations. What does that mean? You see, the role of the management accountant is to provide data to management so that the management can make decisions. So if you do the calculation and walk away, you have not done anything. What is the meaning of the calculation you just did? So let's say, for instance, you did an NPV schedule. So you did an NPV schedule and the project is having a positive NPV. What is the meaning of that? You have to state it down. You have to state that since the project has a positive NPV, the entity should what? Proceed with the project, because when they proceed with the project, the wealth of the shareholders will be increased by the positive NPV. That's it. That language must be written down. Or let's say you did a relevant costing analysis decision. It's a special order decision and the examiner asks you to determine the minimum price at which they can charge for a product using the relevant costing principle. You did it, you get your totals. What is the meaning of that? You must interpret, write an English down for the examiner in that regard. And the chief examiner has said that students lose, this costs students to lose up to 2 to 3 marks on the average because of the non-interpretation. And if you have seen 47 before, 48 before, you will appreciate 2 to 3 marks. So as you are going into the exam or for management accounting, please ensure that whatever calculation you make or whatever calculation you perform or you do, you ensure that you interpret. What is the meaning of that? What can we use it for? State it in the question and be sure to mention it very well. The next concern the examiner raised is about time management. Time management. Now, the time management here is due to the selection of questions for students. Now, when you get to the exam hall, sometimes people are excited, like variance analysis. Variance analysis is going to be in the exam hall. So one thing students do is that they chew various formulas about variance analysis. So they go to the exam hall and they write all the formulas down first. Even before they say start work, they write all the formulas down because they don't want to forget. Then they start with a variance analysis question, only for them to realize that there is something in the question that is making them not to interpret the question very well. Or they start with budgeting question, only for them to realize later on that there is something in the budgeting question that they cannot understand or they don't understand. So you waste time on it. How do you deal with that? The way you deal with that is you start with what you can do best first. And my recommendation to you is that as you go into the exam hall, you start with the theory questions. Very, very critical. Ethics, we know there will be question on ethics. Go there and answer the question on ethics. Now, in case you don't understand ethics, you can check the description of this video. We covered ethics, a 2-part video I did on ethics, and you can watch that video as well. So ethics is going to be there. It's a theory thing. Answer it. Second, there may be theories covering various areas about models of evaluation, total quality management, cost reduction, cost control, issues about just-in-time system. These are theory areas. Value chain analysis, the balance scorecard. These are theory areas that will come in. There are theories in budgeting. There are theories in variance analysis. There are theories in short-term decisions. So read the question and then answer those theories first. Because you see, you can save time from the theories, so you can then spend more time on the variance analysis, on the budgeting, and on the investment appraisal, and then the question 1A, which is usually going to be an issue in relation to performance measurement. You have to do this. So to deal with the issue about time management, I recommend to you that you answer the theory questions first. Okay, so number one, English language. Number two, the lack of application. I've told you what you have to do. Number three, non-interpretation of the computations. I've told you what you have to do. Number four, time management. I've told you what you have to do about that. Answer the theories first. Then from there, you can start answering the other questions. Then the fifth thing that the examiner shared concern on is about poor handwriting, poor presentation. Okay, poor handwriting, poor presentation. So if you have a bad handwriting or a poor handwriting, that is going to cost you in the exam hall. Again, I'm not saying go buy my first copybook or whatever the heck, but then you need to ensure that you write clearly, that it can be seen and it can be marked. You don't have to make the thing difficult, complicated for the examiner. It should be very easy. Then you present your answers in a more logical manner, in a manner that can be easily what? Understood. That can be easily understood. That is the concern by the examiner. Then the last concern about the examiner is poor preparation of students. Yeah, many students don't prepare well for the exams. It is for the reason why the pass rate is very, very low. That is the reason why the pass rate is very, very low. Make sure you cover everything in the syllabus. Don't pick and choose your favorite topics. Don't pick and choose your favorite areas. Make sure you cover the syllabus from cover to cover. Now, somebody will say, Nhyira, can I cover the syllabus? Yes, you can cover the syllabus. Yes, you can cover the syllabus. If you make time available to go through the syllabus, then you can cover it. Now, when I say cover the syllabus, I'm not telling you where you attend your lectures at. That's not what I'm talking about, because the lecturer may not finish the syllabus. You don't rely on the lecturer to go and pass the exams. You have to take the thing on your own and learn on your own and finish the syllabus by yourself. By the grace of God, we will finish our syllabus, because we are heading towards the last end of the topic, and we have about 4 sessions or 5 sessions to go officially as per our timetable. So we will finish the syllabus. But I'm saying that covering everything in the syllabus is not about your lecturer. It's about the time you make to sit down to study. So these are the concerns that have been raised by the chief examiner and the things that you have to do in order to combat them. If you follow these guidelines very well, what I've just said and what I'm about to explain to you, I can guarantee you, you will be among the 3 out of 10 people who will pass the exams. It is statistics. It's data. 99.9%, 3 out of 10 will pass the April 2022 examination for management accounting. It is what it is. So if you want to be part of these 3 people, then listen to me attentively. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, now the key question we then ask ourselves is, okay, what are the key topics we have to focus on in order for us to pass the examination? Like I have mentioned already, number 1, ethics. There is going to be a question on ethics in the exam hall, because ethics has become one of the fundamental areas that we need to understand as professional accountants at the end of the day. So there will be question on ethics. So you want to make sure that you understand the code of ethics very well, the threats to the code of ethics, and then when there is an ethical breach, what the accountant must do, the courses of actions to take, or the courses of action that an the management accountant must take when there is a situation that presents him with breaching the code of ethics. So what does that mean then? It means that you have to understand the ethical issues. Always read the scenario. Usually the examiner will make it a scenario based or just a specific area of ethics that you need to understand. So make sure that you understand everything about what ethics. What are the causes of action to be taken when there is breach? What are the causes of action to be taken to avoid breach? Then also, what are the code of ethics? Then what are the threats to code of ethics? Always note that the action of the management accountant or the situation may be the threat. That's the first level. Then you connect that with the fundamental code of ethics that are going to be breached. Does that make sense? Then you connect that to the fundamental code of ethics that are going to be breached. So there's a question on ethics waiting for us. You want to be strong in that. Number 2, we know there is going to be a question on short-term decisions. Now, there are various short-term decisions that you must know about. We have the make or buy. We have the shutdown. We have the issue about outsourcing decisions, pricing decisions, limiting factor analysis, even throughput accounting can be falling in that category. Relevant costing analysis, break-even analysis, all these are short-term decisions. All these are short-term decisions. Now, if you come to the short-term decisions, primarily you are going to be applying the marginal costing principle. You're going to be applying the marginal costing principle. So if you're applying the marginal costing principle, how do you go about it? So make sure you don't pick and choose. Oh, last semester the examiner brought break even. Last 2 semesters the examiner brought limiting factor. Last 3 semesters the examiner brought this. So this semester, no. Please don't do that ratio and proportion stuff. Just make sure that you understand the principles that underline all the short-term decisions. Now, as you are learning the short-term decisions, be mindful of the theories there. There are theories in break-even analysis. Outsourcing decisions is purely theory. Pricing decisions is purely theory. So you make sure that you spend time to read these very well, because the examiner could ask you questions about them. Does that make sense? Right. So ethics, short-term decision. Number 3 is the issue about investment appraisal. Yeah, it's one of the key aspects of the syllabus that we must know about. At this level, the methods of investment appraisal, the accounting rate of return, the internal rate of return, the net present value, the payback period, the discounted payback period. Know the theories as well as the computational aspects. But let me say this, that sometimes you may go to the exam hall and the examiner may not bring any question on investment appraisal. Don't take it personal. It is just the examiner's decision, okay? But we expect that the examiner is going to be bringing a question about that. Please, again, don't say, oh, I am comfortable with payback period. I am comfortable with discounted payback period. Please go through all of them and understand how their treatments are done, especially if you are doing internal rate of return, which is the same as the break-even rate, which is the same as the rate at which an entity's NPV will be 0 or the NPV of the project will be 0. There are a couple of things that you have to take into consideration, like the timing of the cash flows, like the time of cash flows. Are they real cash flow or nominal cash flows? You have to take into consideration the issue about taxes. You have to take into consideration capital allowance. You must take into consideration also the issue about working capital. Note that when you're dealing with investment appraisal, working capital under NPV, you are going to be dealing with the incremental working capital, not the working capital that they said it's required for each period under review. So you have to be careful to know all of these principles under investment appraisal. And along with these calculations are the theories. And you have to be mindful of that very well. Then investment appraisal. Yeah, there's going to be question on I've just said investment appraisal. Standard costing and variance analysis. Standard costing and variance analysis. There's definitely going to be a question on what? Standard costing and variance analysis that you must know about. Now, here there are basic variances. We have the mix and yield variance, when material mix and material yield variance, when an entity uses more than one raw material to produce a product. Then we have the sales variances, and when an entity sells more than one product, then the sales volume variance will be divided into the sales mix variance and then the sales quantity variance, or the sales volume quantity variance. You must know all of these things and the principles, the assumptions that underline them. The principles and the assumptions that underline them. You must know about it very well. Okay? Then there are theories under variance analysis, like types of standards, stages of standard costing, the reasons why some variances will be favorable, will be adverse. Those theories, you must understand them very well, because sometimes the examiner may not bring any calculation on variances, but it will just be what? Theory throughout, and you have to be mindful and know about them very well. Does that make sense? Then the next one is going to be budgeting and budgetary control. I cannot overemphasize this part. The functional budget preparation, the master budget, the cash budget, the budgeted income statement, budgeted statement of financial position. You must know these very well. But most importantly also, there are theories here. So you must ensure that you know these very well. There are principles that underline how you prepare the production budget, how you prepare the material usage budget, how you prepare the labor usage budget, taking into consideration defective products, normal losses, idle time, efficiency of labor. All of these things must be what? Taken into consideration. Then the next thing is going to be performance measurement. Performance measurement. That is going to be question 1 usually. Performance measurement, that is going to be question 1 usually. So you have to be mindful of the various issues: divisional performance measurement, the entity as a whole, its performance measurement, the concept about transfer pricing. You must know all of these things. Then the usage of the balance scorecard to assess an organization's performance. Then also the issue about the Fitzgerald and Moon building block. These are all models that we use for assessing an organization's performance, and you have to really know about these very well as you go into the exam hall. So that is question 1A usually, and you are going to be having question on transfer pricing. Did I say you are going to have a question on transfer pricing? No, you are going to have questions on performance measurement. Sounds good? On performance measurement. So what I want you to do is to make sure that you cover everything there. There are theories there. Make sure you familiarize yourself with the theories. And if the examiner wants you to do interpretation of financial statements, that is also there. So for the FR students who are doing MA as well, interpretation of financial statements, it's in man accounting. That's where we are assessing the entire performance of the organization. And this is where your grammar will come in. The way you interpret the ratio is also going to come in. And you have to be mindful of that as you go into the exam hall. Then the last thing is going to be the models of evaluation. If you look at your syllabus, you can see the models of evaluation, issues about, like I mentioned earlier, value chain analysis, just-in-time system, total quality management, throughput accounting ratio, cost control, cost reduction. These are all models of evaluation, and you must know them very well because they are going to be there. I mean, there is between 5 to 10 mark question waiting for you in the exam hall. So if you want to pass the management accounting exams, like you see, you just heard, I have gone through the entire syllabus. Everything in the syllabus is going to be critical. My concern to you is to know how you can add all the pieces together and what to do and when to do it. Like I said, please start with the written aspect first. If you do that, you save some time so that you can work on the calculation aspect of the questions. If you do this, I believe that you can pass the exams and most importantly, become successful. Give us a thumbs up on the video, share the video, let us reach as many students as possible. Remember to also make sure that you subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon. If there are any questions you have for me or there are certain things you would want me to cover on the channel, put it in the description. Put it in the chat box or the comments section. I want to hear from you and know what it is that you have to do. Check the playlist on the channel on management accounting. There are a lot of videos we have done on a lot of the things that I've mentioned that you can get to watch so that you can pass the examination. If you do this, I can guarantee you, you will go in there and you will be among the 3 people out of 10 who will pass the examination coming April 2022. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in another broadcast. Bye.